Plus, it's the end of an era.
Wow.
Jubilee is closing its doors on Thursday, but not before we take a look back at the impact it's had on Vegas entertainment. We'll let you know what the life of a showgirl is like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
All
it's,
right.
those hats aren't lightweight.
No, they're not at all.
Yeah.
Hey,
Countdown is now on until we say so long to the original Vegas showgirl.
I know. Coming up, how you can see Jubilee's final show before this iconic production ends its historic run.
And a little bit of information for you. Many of the props and wardrobe pieces in Jubilee are original from the opening day performance. This week, we say farewell to the most iconic image of our city, the Las Vegas showgirl.
I know, I can't believe it. Jubilee ends its reign as the longest-running showgirl production on the Strip. For 23 years, the show has dazzled its audiences with show-stopping musical numbers, elaborate sets, and of course, those famous costumes and beautiful girls. Now, Jubilee closes at Bally's on Thursday, so go see Vegas history before the curtain falls on the Vegas showgirl you only have just this week.
And we've got some special coverage coming up on Thursday, the night of Jubilee's closing. So be sure to join us on More and More Access this coming Thursday.
My aunt back in the day starred as a showgirl in Hallelujah Hollywood at the MGM.
Really?
I think like 30 or, gosh, I don't want to age her, but 30 years ago. And it was such an era back then. There were so many shows. So it's sad to see this last one.
Well, she's a part of this wonderful chapter of Vegas history.
Absolutely. Well, we told you.
Guys, tonight is the second to last night for Jubilee.
Oh, right. Okay.
The epic entertainment show is calling it quits after 3.5 decades. But before they go, we caught up with a few past and present performers to find out what it was like to be in the show. When the folks at Jubilee say it's the longest running show, do they mean it's been on the Strip for 35 years? Or do they mean they literally are running all over the place in heels, huge costumes, and heavy hats?
Costumes like this, we would consider them to be small costumes in Jubilee, so we're actually going to be running up and down the stairs in our heels in some of our smaller hats. So we do have to be very careful. I think you might wear one of the heaviest hats in the show.
It's about 20 pounds, and it's the steel frames that make them the heaviest, really. You know, the feathers themselves aren't that heavy. I have a hat that's in the same number with these costumes that's ginormous.
And yes, very large. They take up a lot of room. That one probably goes up about 6 feet tall above her.
Not every number is about the complete costume. After all, it is an adult show. That means scantily clad in Sin City. And not just for the showgirls.
Well, the most scandalous number that I really, as far as costume-wise, that I really enjoyed was Samson and Delilah. It was my first time putting on a leather G-string and, you know, having my mom and sister be in the audience and being okay with that.
Our researchers at Moore found Patrick's package, but if you all don't mind, I'd like to get back to the showgirls. After all, we will miss them the most.
It's nice to be a part of history.
Most shows and stories like this one end with the finale. And while the Jewel Box is a fine final number, it's another scene the girls seem to fancy more. And since it's the last week for Jubilee, they get the final say.
My favorite number in the show is the Red Fans number. It's a lot of classic Jubilee all wrapped into one. We have these large fans that we're wielding around stage and have to make sure we don't smack the girl next to us in the face or drop them and trip over them because that happens.
Yeah.
Now, you know what else is interesting?
Researchers.
Right? The Red Fan, J-Lo did and does in her show, and the showgirls got to perform with her on Ellen.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, doing the Red Fan number.
Oh, yeah. That's beautiful.
You know, remember,
cool.
we've had a lot of showgirls come in on our show, and those women, first of all, are tall and sleek and some of the most beautiful you've ever seen. But I'm telling you, they have to be athletic because some of them told us, you know, throughout the entire show, they're wearing 8-pound headpieces, and this lady said that
20
that
pounds
big
for that
one is 20 pounds. Can you imagine arms straight out, high heels, walking down the steps with a 20-pound headpiece on?
Have you seen Walk from the newsroom to the set?
Yeah, hello.
We have some fun facts for tomorrow because it's the last day, and we're going to be talking about you know, that show at Bally's, and that's going to be emotional tomorrow night.
I bet it will be. Yeah.
But we'll take a look back at what the show meant to Las Vegas and where the showgirl goes from here.
But I'm glad we're getting word out. I met someone yesterday, a nice lady who lives in Henderson, and she said, "Thank you for reminding me. This is the last week. My girlfriends and I all bought tickets for the last night.
Oh,
and
nice.
we want to go and show support." So hopefully they'll have an amazing crowd that final evening.
They will.
Final time tonight on the Strip's most iconic and longest running show. We're talking about Jubilee at Bally's. Nearly 100 showgirls in their glitzy costumes shimmying across the stage with their feather headdresses in true Las Vegas fashion. It debuted in 1981. Bally's is now currently exploring a new showgirl production and will announce more developments in the coming months. Beautiful
era for the Las Vegas showgirl.
Yeah, Jubilee is the longest running show in Vegas, and it's ending tomorrow night. Now, this Las Vegas classic has been running for nearly 35 years. It's been a showgirl extravaganza at Bally's on the Strip and has entertained millions. The cast includes 70 dancers, singers, and specialty acts that all wear the heavy, eccentric costumes with lots of feathers we've come to love. And the showgirls we spoke with say that Jubilee's closing is bittersweet.
All good things have to come to an end. It's sad to see the show close, but above all, I think we're so grateful to have been a part of such an iconic show.
Well, if you want to see Jubilee before it ends, there are still some tickets left for tonight and tomorrow night's shows. Send them off with some class.
Well, Jennifer Lopez.
Guys, the big story today, of course.
Oh, yeah.
The longest running show on the Strip is going to end tonight. The final curtain call, of course, over at Jubilee. And while performers saw it coming, it is certainly not easy to see it go. And Jason has a story.
When Jubilee first began, it was a disaster. And that's exactly how the mastermind wanted it.
Don Arden had a love for disaster, so there's a lot of like the tragic ending with Samson and Delilah and Titanic. Not so much that the showgirls are tragic on stage.
Now, 35 years later, it really is tragic, at least for a very large family of Jubilee performers, past and present.
It will be very hard to see something else go into that theater, and it will be definitely hard to see the last show.
All good things have to come to an end. It's sad to see the show close, but above all, I think we're so grateful to have been a part of such an iconic show.
So very honored to be a part of the closing cast. I mean, it's a really large family. So many people have been employed through this show over the years.
It's no secret these types of shows have lost a lot of the luster from the early days of Vegas. Back then, even before Jubilee, showgirls were synonymous with sophistication. A French review was a tough ticket to get. Nowadays, performers like Ciara, Stephanie, and Patrick compete with Cirque rock stars and a certain stigma.
Truly the honorary that these showgirls would have, you know, assisting high rollers and with fur coats and dinners, and, you know, there was such a lavish lifestyle with that, and now it no longer exists, and so people just look at them as, oh, just a dancer, and they're much more than a dancer.
Even my own family had some different perceptions of it. My dad was very clear on what it was because he was familiar with the Lido and older shows and had seen them himself, whereas my mom had a lot more of a negative perception before I got into the show. When people come to see the show, they realize that it's not like the stigmatized dancer that is in Vegas, and it's a much more classic and very much a style of dance that deserves to be recognized in a positive light.
Something shows like Jubilee will fight for until the final curtain comes down.
We're just so honored to be able to call ourselves true Las Vegas showgirls.
Yeah, aren't they beautiful?
Beautiful.
Just beautiful.
I just hope there'll be some kind of reimagining of it somewhere.
Oh,
I think they're thinking about that already.
I think so. I think so.
Well, here's a few fun facts about Jubilee. Though, was on July 31st, 1981, and they did 10 shows a week, 6 days a week. There were 9 costume changes in a single performance, and the dancers go through 1,500 pairs of tights a year. They dance through them, right?
Yeah, they do.
Showgirls have to be, well, we're both out, Monica, at least 5'8". Well, show boys have to be at least 6 feet tall. So, Dave,
wait a minute.
You can be on it.
I didn't know there was such a thing as a show boys.
Show boys, yeah.
In the show.
Guys.
Really? Yeah.
Show men.
I've never seen the show, but I've never even heard the term show boys.
Dudes.
Huh.
What would you
prefer?
prefer?
What do they do?
Dance.
They shake it, run it down
I guess
to the
my
ground.
eyes have only gone right to the women, so I've never noticed there were show boys in the show as well.
Yeah.
Show girls, show boys.
Very athletic, very athletic. So, all right. Hey, everybody. So, as we say goodbye to one show, another is headed our way.